So what are you going to do when you're in a Hollywood mode and overlooking yourself on the patio of your own understanding and talking jarble and gibberish, infected by the conditionedness of your own neighborhood and sparkling into your blather? Sparkles out. You talk like you've been trained by some sort of a culture. Move to it. As the BMs do, the balloon men, and also the BWs, the balloon women, and all you BPs out there, you balloon persons, write in, particularly send in high sums, and don't ever, ever be inaccurate or imperfect, because somebody is going to yell at you if you do. I'd like to do a special launch in tribute to Willie Shoemaker. Single breath blow, the SBB. These are great balloons, real rubber. None of that latex stuff. Starts out, of course, the simple balloon animal. I wasn't a horse fan myself, racing. A relative that better unloosen her collar before she shrinks to death and embarrasses all the relatives, of course. Willie Shoemaker tribute. Why, I don't know. I never paid much attention. I just saw his face so often in the sports pages as I was scanning through it on the newscasts, and I recognized the champ when I saw one, even though I was not a big fan of the horses. But gee, did you see him whip his crop the other day on the Tim Conway show? This is passe, I know. 2022, we don't know what this is coming across as. Some kind of a jarble, terrible sound and look to our ears that says, look at how they did things in those days. Willie Shoemaker, one of the greatest of all. We all know that, don't we? We who are alive now. How about the old great ones? We don't know what their names are unless we follow the horses. They also are great. Tribute, Willie Shoemaker, one of the greats. One of the real greats. You see him whip his horse on that silly Tim Conway sketch not too long ago, about, let's say 600-700 years ago. Willie Shoemaker. Yeah, God bless you. Get all straightened up again. You see him whip his horse there with that style. He was embarrassed. All those jockeys were doing that silly Tim Conway sketch. You know, the Dorff family. Their legs were short, and it is so terribly, grossly unfair to the real short people, or the people who are dwarfs, or those folks who were reduced in their legs as a consequence of some unfortunate situation. But so terribly funny. Tim, those short little legs. I love it. And those jockeys, those famous jockeys of current day, and Willie in the background. He was okay. Whipping his horse in a particularly interesting way, I thought. Catch it sometime. Tribute, Willie. Oh, I wish I was as hip as I appear to be. Sometimes in my own analyses of the inhalation of my neighborhood as a consequence of living in Hollywood for so terribly long and being so terribly impressed by the terribly big people, the big stars, of all of whom we all recognize as the icons of our own gods and goddesses that we must behold. Some heroes, even if they are ugly creatures, you know, but up there on a big screen, God, that's great, isn't it? To be an icon such as that, yeah. Well, of course, and that's what we follow, and we become that which is the champions while we live our own un-public access sort of life. Me, I'm very lucky, of course, being vanity cabled and hooked up to over 300,000 subscribers. I could peddle this garbage around, this wasteland crap all over the country if I should wish to spread the Mr. Morrison bad seed. Television, bad seed. Waste, of course, not bad to waste it. Watch it. I bought a little money, though. I don't see any coming in.
1, 2, 3, 1. I'm sorry.
But if you kind of just sleaze yourself around and squeeze your compromises thin to the unprincipledness, you'll be able to survive as I have once too. Let's squeeze in and around here and mooch off of this and parasitical off of that and claim your own righteoushood under your white Anglo-Saxon Protestant greatism. It's all set up for us people in our country. We can slither in and around Hollywood very easily and manage to make it. Of course, we become sort of snakes in the grass ourselves, sleazy Hollywood schemers, those outside elements of lifestyle that have been in this town ever since the Cairo was stolen, the Edison patent, and hyped across the hills from New York and that New Jersey studio by those thieves that brought it over here and get it out into the sunshine and not be traced down by the copyright people or something, I don't know. Starting the industry, those glove makers. It sure drew me down here, these film stars, watching those Gary Cooper pictures and, oh God, who else? Van Johnson with that steel plate in his head. He avoided the draft that way because he had this head problem. And I remember that story. God, I wonder what it's like when he gets some static up there and centralized. I wonder if he can listen to I wonder if it screws up his computer. Red Sox Van, God, I like to see him in those leather jacket Air Force pictures, you betcha. John Wayne, of course, naturally, you know, Wayne. How he impresses the youngsters and Clark Gable, you know. Reed Hadley, remember Reed? God, that was anytime Reed was in a scene with that voice of his, I can't do it, but I mean, right away, he took over because he had that marvelous Reed Hadley. He did some more pictures, too. So what? The mind goes off, it tangentializes itself. The Pacific public access people have this quality, the Pacific Coast public access people. I can speak for them because I'm one of them. From the Pacific Coast, or Willamette Valley particularly. And it entered my being and created this conditioned process that became the balloon master, the balloon man, the bowel movement, Bill Morrison, the VP person of them all, of course. The one who is transposed into a persona that is almost believable in some fashion, and yet it's just designed for television. TV personality. Mr. Morrison, public access, 8.5, 9 years, wasting away, getting smaller in his own structure and losing this and that, and no longer the same as he once was. The hemorrhoids are gone, the piles are gone. So much is different. Not so much drinking, certainly less cautious, because it doesn't make that much difference anymore. It's close to the death stage. Chicken as ever, fighting to stay alive and slither around and keep his lifestyle as he pleases, doing what he wants, regardless of whether it's important or not, and it isn't. It's a waste. A total waste. But the purposeless, the meaningless, the design of it all drives me forward, the gossip of myself, what's going on around in my own neighborhood, in my own mind. Little titillating tales. I could lay back in my bed probably almost 4 or 5 weeks, I think, right on my back if somebody shifted me here and there just to keep off the bed stores and create little pleasant fantasies in my mind, the exotica of these esoteric balloon man stories and Balloon Manual 22 is soon to come out in its own version of wasted paper. Pass. Back in 1983, things were different.
I've never been around real older people. I was always around my own type of, you know.
Inflation was strong, of course, and getting up and going down, and the people were losing their credit cards, people were going bankrupt, people were being abused, people were being treated as if they're on welfare. They're on there because